Who are you? Who are you really? Is it your name, what you do, or what you love? Or is there something deeper beneath the surface? Maybe you've never thought about it, or maybe you've been asking yourself this question for years. Today we'll explore what shapes your identity, and what it truly means to be you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Feasible Philosophy. Yes, new angle, new everything. Very nice. Today we're going to be talking about identity. Yeah, let's just crack on. Let's go. I don't really always show who I am to people, and that makes me a bit insecure. I know, sorry. I mean, I don't have a degree or a job that's interesting. So when people say, hey, what do you do in life? What's your personality? I'm like, I don't know. I don't really show what interests me, and I'm quite introverted, so people often think, oh, he's kind of nice, relaxed NPC guy, and that's really not what I want to show, but that's kind of who I am. Now, that's your social identity. It's what people see. It's not per se who you are. It's kind of the outer layer of your identity. Now, there are people who make their job, their car, their house, their entire personality, and that's fine until you lose that thing. It's kind of an external factor, and that's kind of bad, because when you lose that job or that car or that house, what do you have? You start thinking, oh, who am I outside of my job? Who am I other than this hardworking, ambitious person? Well, oh no. Oh no. It can be quite a shock, so maybe not make that your entire personality. Like I said, this is just the outer layer. It doesn't necessarily say everything or anything about who someone is. I once met this very social, extremely social and extroverted woman, and my first thought was, wow, she's very social. I'm not very social. We're not going to be very compatible with each other. Then I got to know her, and she became my colleague, and I fell hopelessly in love. So, yeah, the outer layer doesn't say everything about who someone is. Next question is, it's interesting. Should your social identity show who you really are? It's not as easy as yes or no, which, of course, philosophy. On the one hand, showing who you are, showing your real self with your social identity is good, because that means you're authentic. You don't feel like you're living a lie because you feel like you're being yourself to others. On the other hand, truly being you all the time is good, but if you're a chaotic lone wolf and you have a group project at school, in that case, you can set your identity, or at least part of it, aside and help your classmates. Otherwise, you're not going to get your group project done, and people will hate you. And that's not good, because we're all in this together. All in this together. Sorry. As with most things, life is about balance. No, but seriously, it is about balance. When it's necessary, you can, and I think you should, adapt your social identity to help others and to be better in society. But you shouldn't feel like you're living a lie by completely removing who you are as a social identity. So, it's balance. So what is this real self? What is this identity, this actual identity, this true self, who you are? Let's talk about that. Psychologists suggest, they say that your identity is shaped by your self-concept, which is your beliefs, your morals, your likes, dislikes, your values, all of that. Now, these things change through experiences like relationships, cultures, things you see. Experiences make sense, obviously. Think about what you thought 10 years ago. Your likes and dislikes and some of your values are likely to have shifted. Is that a good sentence? Probably was. So they change. So is that really part of your identity? Maybe it is. Maybe your identity is not solid. Maybe your identity is fluid. Maybe it can change. Maybe it evolves. We are humans. We evolve. Wow, it makes sense. So you're still you, but you evolve over time. You change little things, and that's good, because change is often good. If there's no change, there is no improvement. Nice. Maybe there's a core part of you that doesn't change, but let's talk about that later. Now, philosophers kind of have the same thing. Some philosophers, like David Hume, this guy, agree with this. He thinks you're a collection of experiences constantly changing. Others, like Jean-Paul Sartre, believe your identity is something you create through choices. Now, of course, some philosophers think differently than others, because philosophers. Who you are, your identity, is shaped by your choices, morals and beliefs, and values and dislikes and all of that. And these things can change by experiences. In case things aren't clear enough, I'll give you a little example. For example, you can believe that showing vulnerability in a relationship is weakness. So you think, I want to be in control of my emotions, so you don't show emotions all the time. Right? That's what you believe. That's what you think your identity is. Then one day you meet someone who is emotionally open. You grow closer and you realize this vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It builds the connection. It makes the connection deeper and it builds trust. So your identity has changed because of an experience. Boom. There you go. Easy. The last small thing I want to talk about is the core. Is there some part of you that never changes? I've wondered about this. Let's break it down with a nice little example, shall we? Okay. I love theatre. I always have. Not always. I always liked it until I did it. Again, that's an experience. I also know that I'll never stop loving theatre. And I think that is your core. And I think that that is something that will never change no matter the experience. If you know, you know. Maybe it's helping people. Maybe it's being a hairdresser. It could be anything. If I ask you the question, what is something you absolutely love and you know will never stop loving? If there's something that pops into your head right away and you certainly know this is it, that's your core. That's my little take on the core. Again, you might not know what it is, but you can find out. I said something like this in a previous video. Try things. Try things you think you like and you might be able to love them. So, who are you? Your identity is shaped by morals, beliefs, likes, dislikes, all of that. That changes by making choices and experiencing things. And at the center, there is something constant. And if you don't know what it is yet, you can find out. Maybe even at that center, that constant thing, maybe even that changes. Maybe in 20 years, I'll realize, theater sucks. Maybe there is no core. Now, I have done some research for this, but again, it's probably not enough, and it's philosophy, so it's never going to be quite clear. But I hope I made some sort of a point. Again, it's a very difficult question to answer. It's philosophy. There's no simple answer for it. But maybe that's the point. Figuring out who you are, your identity, is a journey. And maybe you don't know that yet. That's fine. Go on a journey. Let's go. Come on. Go. Seriously though, it is okay if you don't know who you are yet. I'm still figuring out who I am. So that's fine. And that's the reason I don't have a relationship. At least that's what I tell myself. Well, that was it. Probably a bit of a longer video, but again, it was a very difficult question to answer, and I hope I answered it somewhat well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you the next time.